Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Toolbox Tuesday. This is where we help put tools in your toolbox to pound out problems and sharpen your saw. Tonight's session is on Vice President of the officer role, Vice President, Public Relations. Before we get started, I'd like to go over some of the controls that you have. On the bottom of your screen, you should have a question and answer icon, and we will have a question session there, and if you click on that, you'll be able to ask questions, and we'll be able to see them. There is also an option to raise your hand, and I believe we have a chat option as well. So if you've got something that you need to say to one of the presenters, by all means, you can chat in. So without further ado, let's jump into tonight's session. Our presenter tonight is Joanna Carley, and Joanna is our District 106 training coordinator. Joanna joined Toastmasters 12 years ago, and wow, that's amazing. Who knew you could join Toastmasters when you were 16 years old? But apparently it used to be. So Joanna joined originally to help improve her communication skills, and it helped out immensely. And she stays in because she sees the difference that it makes in herself as well as others, and she wants to be part of that. We're really excited to have her here tonight. Joanna works at Target, and she also owns her own business as a professional coach she's going to tell you later.
So leadership coaching.
There you go, leadership coaching. And
tonight I'm working 3 jobs: Toastmasters, coaching, and Target.
There you go. It's all, we get the full package here.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, I'm going to step aside and let Joanna take over. Joanna.
Well, what Dave didn't mention is I'm also Vice President Public Relations for one of my clubs. So I feel your pain, public relations officers. It's a tough job. Thank you for stepping up and doing it. As VP Public Relations, you are essentially the marketing manager for your club. If your club were a rap group, you'd be the hype man. Woo, woo. Or hype woman, as it may be. When you are the marketing officer, your job is to help publicize the club. Your job is to make sure that people know your club exists, that they know what your club offers, and that they know what to expect when they come in the door. So when we think about that from a marketing perspective, if you really want to do a SWOT analysis, you can do that. If you really want to get into exactly how your marketing plan will work, you can absolutely do that. At a bare minimum, these are the things that a VP PR should be able to think about within the first month or 2 in the role. What does your club offer? What is it that your club is offering to prospective members and guests? Is it, we're a very structured club, we are great at mentoring new people, we follow the Toastmasters guidelines well, we encourage growth in all of our members, we have a great time? Whatever it is that your club offers, know what that is. And the second piece of that is know about your audience. Who are you trying to attract to your club? Who are they? Where do they look for information about Toastmasters or about social events? And what is the information that they're looking for? This can come in a variety of ways. For some people, it might be that they are looking for a place to socialize, right? And so you're thinking about an audience that is looking for social interactions. And as you market to them, you want to communicate why your club offers a good social interaction for them. Maybe your audience is a corporate audience. And so for them, you might want to market in a way that communicates the value for the career. This is something that might help your individual development plan, or this is something that will help your communication in meetings or other leadership situations. So it's very important as a club VP PR to think about, what does your club offer? And who is my audience that I can connect with? And then you'll say, well, Joanna, I don't know what the VP PR does. And I forgot where my club officer handbook is. So if you don't have your club officer handbook with you, or perhaps you've misplaced it for whatever reason, your club president might already have it for you. And if they don't, all you have to do is type in club officer handbook. You can do this in Google. You can actually go to toastmasters.org and search for it there, but really Club Officer Handbook will likely pull it up for you. It will come as a PDF for you. And as soon as it opens up, this Club Leadership Handbook, you can print this out, you can save it to your computer. You have a lot of options here. As you open it, the electronic version is fantastic because as you scroll down to the table of contents, as soon as you get to the section that you want to look at, in this case, I want to look at the Vice President of Public Relations. So I want to go to the section and I can just click here and bam, it takes me exactly where I want to go. This will help you. It's only a few pages and it will help you as a Vice President of Public Relations understand what the job is of the PR officer. So you promote the club, you update the web content, and you ensure that people in your community, whatever community that might be your corporation, that might be your actual neighborhood, that they know that your Toastmasters Club exists. A lot of the explanations and instructions in this manual talk about some of the social aspects in terms of social marketing that you can do as public relations officer. So I will show you a few of the different options. Some of these you might be familiar with, some of them you may not, and then we can start to talk about how you might use these in different ways. One of them is Pinterest. So Pinterest is typically a way for people to share visuals, but it's also a way for people to understand different concepts and put ideas together. And if you search for Toastmasters, there's a ton of different pieces in here that already exist about Toastmasters. And if you wanted to, you could start a group of pins, essentially pictures or posters of your club, and people can choose to follow that. So once I'm following someone, I don't know if I'm actually following anyone. Let's see what happens if I follow this person. Then I will get pictures of all the things that, so for example, I'm following Thomas Joseph and Sons. I will see pictures every time they pop information in here. You would need to keep it somewhat current, so you'd need to pop in there and put pictures in fairly frequently, but you could share pictures of your club. You could share inspirational examples of what people in your club have accomplished, that sort of thing. Another one is Instagram, and I will admit I do not have an Instagram account, so I can't actually show you what this looks like. Instagram is kind of a combination, I would say, of Facebook with Pinterest. So you can share photos and you can share videos, I believe, with captions. So if your club had an Instagram account, you could share information about club meetings, or you could take pictures and say, this person did their first speech tonight. It was about X, and that was fantastic. And so people can follow that and start to get a picture of what your club really stands for, what they do. I don't think I have a Meetup account either, but Meetup is another option that you might want to use. So Meetup is essentially a community's way of connecting and gathering together. So you can see here, there's things like learning to cook, train for a marathon, hike a mountain. But you can also put in a Toastmasters meetup. And that allows people to say, what's happening tonight? What's happening this week? Then I can go into Meetup and I can find whatever's happening. You can put it into whatever category. We'd probably put it into learning. I think there is, no, I'd have to sign up for that. But I think there are ways where you can just say, these are things that are happening nearby. Meetup does have a cost. Typically, you can have up to 3 accounts, I believe, within one Meetup account. So you could partner with other clubs in your area to share a Meetup account. If you're interested in doing that, I would say connect with your area director, and they may be able to find some other clubs in the area that also want to do meetup accounts. Facebook is another way to communicate out to the public or to an organization about what's going on. I am the PR I'm VP of Public Relations for the Tonka Talkers Toastmasters Club. You can see our fantastic district director, Ben Smith, is our highlighted picture right now. We use this to put out our weekly meetings, and you can even boost your event if you choose to pay money, or say your club has some extra funds. You can spend $10 or $20 and actually target your audience in this boost event to say, I only want to reach people between the ages of 18 to 70 within this physical geographical area, or I only want to reach people who have these specific hobbies or are interested in this specific thing. So you can really target your advertising dollars on Facebook to the people that you think are most closely aligned to your audience. And what this allows you to do then is say, these are all the events that are happening, and people can see we have a meeting coming up tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. We can choose to then also boost those posts so we can advertise and get even more excitement around those posts. Eventbrite is somewhat similar to Meetup. It does not cost anything though, so it's kind of a nice way to set things up. If you are doing events, I believe for Toastmasters meetings, you'd have to do them as single events. So if you have a weekly meeting, you would need to create an event for every single week. But once it's out there, if people are looking for something, they can quickly find, I'm looking for an event in this area on a date, and it will search for you and say, here are some things that are happening during that time frame. So if you can imagine people, especially people who are new to the area and are looking for something to do, they're not sure how they would get out and experience things in the neighborhood, this can be a really powerful tool to connect with people who are looking for something but aren't really sure what they're looking for at this point. You can see things like real estate career info sections, back to business, intro to Google My Business. This would be a great place to also put Toastmasters events where we can start to market to our different audiences. This again is free, but you do have to put in one for every single week that you have an event. And then lastly is YouTube. This one can be fantastic and it can be tough. So YouTube couldn't be public channels, in which case everybody can see your video. Or you can keep YouTube as a very contained space for just your club's YouTube videos, so that members can view videos of themselves and each other in their speaking events. If you choose to use YouTube, and this goes for any of them, if you choose to use pictures of people in your club, please make sure that your club has agreed to using those pictures. It can be really challenging otherwise if people aren't expecting to find their information or their pictures or videos out on the internet. But YouTube's a great way to show people what happens in an actual meeting. I think that's one of the frequent questions we get, right? Is when I go, do I have to talk? When I go, what am I going to do there? What happens in a meeting? And so a YouTube video on your webpage, your club's homepage, could be a really powerful way to put that all together. The one that I did not cover at all is the club website. So of course, this is a really powerful marketing tool. And as the VP of PR, you are responsible for ensuring that your club website is up to date and that it effectively communicates to your audience what you want them to know before they come to a meeting. For example, do you have the address on the website in a place where guests can easily find it? Do you have the day and the time that the club meeting happens? Are there photos, videos, or something else to help guests understand what's expected of them if they show up at a meeting? And does it even say guests are welcome and you can drop in at any time? Because frequently guests don't know, how do I come in? Am I allowed to come into a meeting without a personal invite? So make sure that your club website has all of those things. That's a really quick and easy way to make sure that your guests know what to expect and how to get to your club. I'm going to pause for a moment and see what questions we have so far. So go ahead and use the chat or raise your hand for questions. Or if no questions, then I'll keep moving along. All right, so we talked a lot about online ways of connecting with your guests and your potential members. What about all the offline ways to connect? For example, there's school events. There are neighborhood events where maybe it's one of the local programs for, like my hometown does Crotonworth, but every town has its own kind of event like that. And can you have a booth somewhere? Can you participate in parades to let people know that you're in the community? If it's a corporate club, having either HR or somebody pretty high up on the totem pole as an advocate for Toastmasters can be an extremely powerful way to encourage different employees to join. If you have a welcome program at your corporation, being able to include Toastmasters in the welcome program as a benefit or even as a club that you may choose to belong to can be extremely helpful in driving membership positively. Some other things that you may want to consider are organizing a volunteer event, whether it's in your community or at your organization, that is associated with Toastmasters, because then you're bringing in goodwill, right? You are doing something good for some other people or some other organization, and you're associating it with Toastmasters. So people may want to help out and then say, oh, I didn't really know that Toastmasters was around, tell me more. And at the same time, you're creating positive goodwill for Toastmasters in general. A couple of other things that can be really helpful are doing newspaper articles. So especially when newspapers are kind of like a slow news day, they're looking for a special feature article, or maybe they want to feature something in the neighborhood or the community. And then the other one is special events. This can be things like Speechcraft. This can be if you're holding a club contest or a speech contest, or just a speechathon, or some kind of special alliance. So you might say two clubs working together might be having a special event, or an open house, or you're having a guest speaker. All of these are really great ways to get people talking about Toastmasters and getting them interested in what's out there. I want to call out too that as the VP of PR, there's kind of two pieces to our jobs. We have our regular meetings, and we want to make sure that guests are always understanding how to come to a meeting, how to feel welcome, what will they do in the meeting. And then we have those special events. If your club is doing Speechcraft, or your club is doing some kind of speechathon or other kind of speech contest, those are also opportunities for you as VP of PR to organize the marketing for them. But you don't have to do it alone. If you are not the best marketer in your club, that's okay. If you're not the best graphic designer in your club, that's okay too. As VP of PR, it's your role to organize and orchestrate that marketing, but it doesn't mean you have to do all the work. Find those people in your club who have passion or have skills in marketing, and recruit them as your helpers as you're trying to do these event marketing plans or regular meeting marketing plans. If there's somebody in your group who's fantastic at graphic design or web design, leverage them to help you make sure that the website is up to date. One more piece that I wanted to cover is around the Toastmasters brand. So I'm going to go back to the interwebs for a second. And Toastmasters.org has a ton of information about how to engage with the brand. Move this down a bit. You don't have to recreate everything. You can go to toastmasters.org and go to resources and go to logos, images, and templates. There's a ton of guidelines here in terms of how to use the images, the logos, all of the templates that they have. And there are a ton of resources over here. So there are marketing resources, there are stationery templates, branded business cards in case you want to make business cards for your club. There are logo and design elements. So if you just need to go get the, let's see, I just want the logo and the tagline, I can copy this image and I can put it onto my page or my site, whatever I'm doing. There are also ones, like I said, that are stationery templates. So if you want to get something that will help you make a brochure, you can go into stationery, go to the brochure, and it should, in theory, didn't pull up any brochures, so that's too bad. Let's try a newsletter. In theory, this works, but maybe not so much. Still no. All right, I'm going to back up a second. So I think if I were to look for a newsletter, I may just scroll through until I get to the club newsletter template. And so then I can download this file and it will pull up a template for me and I can insert my information. I can put in new words. I can put in a new photo at the top. It's already branded for exactly what I need it for, and it will include headlines for all of the pertinent information. This is also a great way to get information on, let's see if it's here, nope, it's at the beginning. Information on club business cards if you wanted to make those. If you need to update your agenda and use a branded template, you have that in here. And then the email banners, which you can use on pretty much anything. If you want to put it in a Word document, you want to make a PDF flyer for an event, or you want to send out an email that has the Toastmasters branded concepts on it. So all of these are within resources, and then logos, images, and templates. And so all of this will provide a ton of resources, however you want to use them. If you have any questions about how you might be able to use the images, the logos, or the templates, you can always check with Toastmasters International. They're pretty good about responding fairly quickly with questions. I would say do things that are appropriate and that uphold the Toastmasters brand, but know that anything that's out here is free for us to use as Toastmasters for our Toastmasters marketing. So it does make our jobs a little bit easier in that sense. At this point, just double checking all my Post-it notes, and I have covered all of the information that I wanted to cover. Let's open it up for questions from the group. You can either use the chat or you can raise your hand.
Hey, Joanna.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for some questions.
Yeah.
So if I'm the VP Public Relations, because I'm a new Toastmaster and I wanted to step up and help out, and I got elected as the VP Public Relations, but I don't know how to use Facebook, or this is really a problem for me, Facebook.
I know
it is. Social media. How do I go about doing this? Do I have to take a night class, or is there?
You can if you'd like. I know a lot of community ed, a lot of community ed sessions offer things like how to use Facebook, how to use Instagram, whatever. There is probably, again, this is where there's probably someone in your club who already knows those social media outlets. There's two things that I would say about that is, one is you can talk to your club members. Maybe this is a speech where you have a club discussion about which social media outlets play into your club's audience the best. If you are a club that is a corporate club, you probably don't need to spend your time on Facebook you probably want to spend more time on the company intranet or some kind of SharePoint site. If you are a community club, you probably want to think about, what is my audience? Where are they going to come and find us? And then go to those social media places. So use your club's experience about who they know are our audience to make those decisions. And then the next question is, hey, who can help me learn how to use that social media? And probably there's somebody within your club who will have that expertise. And if there's not, you can always go to another club and ask for help.
Sure. So this is an opportunity for your fellow club members to gain experience in mentoring skills.
Absolutely. And that would absolutely count as, I believe there is a path that has mentoring in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. I'm not at that level yet, but that would definitely be a thing. And it helps set up people to be the VP of PR the following year as well. You're potentially finding your replacement in that way.
So what I'm hearing is, just because I'm the officer and I'm responsible for public relations doesn't mean that I have to do all the work myself.
Heck no, you don't.
I can recruit people to help.
Yes, absolutely. Part of being a great officer is identifying who is strong in something or who wants to learn something, right? And part of being a great mentor in your club is identifying how you can help somebody else grow. And this is the perfect way to do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Looks like Heather had a question. Are they planning on extending the template, for example, an email template for responding to general info requests? I'm not sure if that is specific to the website or just an email template on the Toastmasters.org site. I don't think I haven't heard of any plans to add any templates on the Toastmasters.org site. I also haven't heard, now that I think about it, I haven't heard of any plans to change the Free Toast host websites either in terms of the template. I will get an email that says, this is the guest or the guest's name, and then there's a space for them to give a couple sentences, I'm interested in visiting or something like that. And then I just send them a personalized note through email, say, yep, based on whatever they've asked in their question, like, I'm not sure when I can come, or I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do if I do come. I just respond in a way that's authentic to them based on what they're wondering about. Other questions?
Joanna, thank you for covering this. You obviously covered it very thoroughly. We don't have any questions, so we're going to see public relations soar in District 106.
Woohoo!
Hey, this has been Toolbox Tuesday. I want to thank you all for coming out, making an investment in your clubs and in your members. And we hold these webinars every week. Next week's webinar is Moments of Truth, First Impressions. So we will be sending out an invite to get registered for that. Again, all of these webinars are recorded and they are saved up on the District 106 website. So you can come back and share this with other people in your club or other people that you meet on the street if you'd like. But yeah, this has been a great event. I want to thank you for coming out, and we'll see you next week.